Simon Schuh. I'm 22 years old, and I'm a senior at the University of Southern California at the Glorya Kaufman School of Dance, and I am a dance major. USC was ironically at the lowest on my college list just because I never heard about the dance program at USC to begin with. So I had no intentions of actually applying. But one of my former classmates in high school went to the university as part of their first ever dance class. And I was just kind of hearing through the grapevine really good things about it. And so I just put it on my list. My mom told me to, and I just decided to check it out. I sent in my pre-screen, which was a process of submitting two contrasting solos of whatever styles you wanted. And from there, they would cut and populate it down to a certain number of people so that they can move on to the next round, which was the live audition. They flew me to Los Angeles. They flew everyone to Los Angeles and was like housed on campus. So you got the experience of kind of being at USC. And it was a long audition day consisting of a ballet, hip hop, improvisation, solo interview class, and one-on-one with just interviewing with the faculty. So after leaving that audition, I had a huge, just a great impression on USC. And because it was such a new school, it was really beneficial for me to go there because I could kind of tailor the university to my needs and vice versa. I could help shape the program for future generations to come. So that was kind of cool to being kind of the first four inaugural classes that will be in that institution and really helping shape what dance is. And they also really preached about hybridity in the dance world, which is something that is really needed. And going to a huge research and private institution such as USC, it's one of the top private research institutions in America. It also just gave me such an academically rigorous and intense background, and it allowed me to take my dance and pursue other interests and take that and tie it into my own artwork when it came to dance. So that's really something that I loved. And in the end, what made me chose USC above everything else is the ability to pursue other interests outside of dance, but could tailor it to dance, and how I could use being an artist and a scholar and kind of use it in an everyday sense, and just meeting people from all over the world that I would have never gotten the chance to meet anywhere else. I applied to five dance programs, four in New York City, and then one in Los Angeles, which was USC. So I had all my intentions of going to New York, but it just so happened that USC was the one that I just was super drawn to. And I got accepted to all my universities besides one. So I had a lot of choices going. So I just didn't really know where to kind of fall or where I wanted to be a part of. And USC, kind of having the Trojan family, was super calling to me, and to be in a academic research institution that was unlike my arts high school. I went to a private arts high school. So having that college experience that differs from my past is something that really, really intrigued me and made me really want to pursue dance at USC. I applied to dance schools because I just wanted to dance. However, my interests, because of USC, my interests have broadened a lot. I really want to work in nonprofit and volunteerism, and I really want to help be a lobbyist for arts education and help get funding in public and private sectors. So if I didn't go to USC, I probably would have never followed that path or even be introduced to classes like that. I took a lot of political science classes, a lot of philanthropy classes, and I did internships with nonprofits that really opened my eyes and see how I could use my community of arts and then networking at USC to just broaden my horizons as an artist, dancer, and an educator. So all my colleges I visited to prior, I did a summer intensive at one of the universities the summer before, so I knew that space really well. In New York, I came to New York for all the auditions, so each university that I went to, I really, really got a chance to feel it out, and I would watch classes of the other dancers and see how they liked it. I also talked to a lot of people that were in the program and see how they liked it and how it differed. But it was kind of unanimous. All the colleges in New York had kind of the same structure. It was just like a building in a big city. Didn't really have a campus feel, which is something that really spoke to me, which I thought I would like. But then when I visited USC and saw that, had that just just like luscious campus environment, and everyone is just so concentrated into a huge, like, it was kind of like a crock pot of mixed individuals that all had different aspirations, different dreams, different backgrounds that really just spoke to me. And it kind of felt like every university that I was going to, for campus wise, it just seemed like everyone was just very homogenous and similar. And I wanted a lot more diversity and a lot more connections and networking. For USC, for Kaufman, it was the pre-screen videos. So you had to do a pre-screen and a supplemental essay in order to get past the first cut. And then after, with your common application, you had to, it was kind of a list of like different aspects that made you you. So that it said like, describe yourself in a hashtag, or if you were a movie, what would you want to be? Or 500 words about why USC. What's your favorite type of food? And like, I think the one that stuck out to me was, where do you feel most content? And that was, it was just like a wide range of different questions that made it seem like the admissions really wanted to get a holistic view of the individual. And none of my other applications had it. It was just basically a 500 supplemental essay for every college being like, why this? Why SUNY? Why NYU? Why SMU? Why this school? But USC really just hit it out of the ballpark with trying to like pull different areas out of you that could not be read through a transcript, or through a standardized test score, or even through your extracurriculars on paper. For the interview, I felt like, I know everyone was kind of like very nervous and practicing like kind of specific like lines to say when the time came. And I thought, just for me, that really wasn't a good option for me, because I knew that I would sound too rehearsed. I probably would stumble over my words and I wouldn't be as authentic as I was. So what I did is I just prepared just kind of like an overarching theme of like being like, okay, why do I want to go to USC? And I had something structured to say. And then as soon as the other questions were kind of tailored towards like what I said after that, then it just became like a natural conversation. So what helped me was a lot is just honestly like sitting up straight, taking a deep breath, and looking at each interviewer and professor in the eye, and really being authentic and not afraid to like say that you don't know the answer, or you don't know why you want this, but your heart is telling you, or your passion is telling you to be here. There's kind of no really wrong answer. And I think a lot of people stumble over trying to be perfect versus authentic. And in the application for the pre-screen, you had to submit a 1 minute video of just you speaking, and it gave you a specific prompt that changes each year for every audition team. And so they kind of get like a knack for how you speak and how you present yourself early on. So I think when you go to the interview portion, you can kind of like relax a little bit, because you know that they must have liked you. They must have felt some sort of connection when you were speaking prior. So you really have nothing to worry about. It's just a dialogue. It's just another person on the other side of the table. They're just like you, and they're probably just as nervous interviewing you as you are being interviewed by them. I was a part of this AIDS benefit for my arts high school. I performed in it, and it was an AIDS benefit that donated, I think, $10,000 to $15,000 to the AIDS Foundation of Chicago. I did like Key Club throughout high school. Did a lot of volunteer work at an organization called Fishes and Loaves. I also was part of a Big Buddies organization where we presented musicals, and we were assigned a buddy through like nursing homes and through like a cerebral palsy center. So we were kind of paired and matched, and we got to volunteer and help them, and they got to see all our musicals. I did a lot of summer programs and summer things growing up. So I got like scholarships to do like American Ballet Theater. I did a summer of scholarship at Juilliard. What else did I do? I played in the orchestra. I played the viola. So I think that's also helped me. I did a little bit of track and field. I kind of did like an assortment of everything. But basically, it was the Big Buddies organization that I think helped stand out. The HIV and the AIDS Foundation of Chicago benefit that I was a part of. And also just trying to be immersed. I was in student council and French club when like a freshman and sophomore in high school. So I think it was showing a variety of interests, but also sticking to something long term rather than short term. It was I kind of took on too much when I was in high school, my freshman and sophomore year, where I really didn't have a passion for a lot of the stuff that I was doing extracurricular wise, but I knew it was what I needed to get into school just because school is so competitive. And once I found that I wasn't really passionate about those things, I just immediately dropped them and I devoted my time to energy and things that I really did like. So I did more summer dance intensives. I did more outside musicals. I wrote a lot of like papers and I tried getting even one published, but it didn't end up working out. But it was just channeling my passions and outlets towards those specific things. I really liked volunteering. That's where I also get my volunteerism from my nonprofit. It was working with Fishes and Loaves and really, all throughout high school on like Friday nights and Saturday nights, I would be helping out, sorting cans and doing all the things, kind of giving back to my communities where I felt the most passionate. So dancing, helping out the community was what I really wanted to do. So then dropping all of that miscellaneous stuff, I could have focused on what I really wanted to do. We had academics in the morning and then arts at night. So I took like French 3 honors. I took like regular like AP stats. Um, I did like a I took like a media course and I also took like a myth and hero course. I took women's lit, which was one of my favorite classes that I ever took in high school, and it was just like it was a pivotal English class for me because that was not offered in public schools where I was from. So just the chance to have like in-depth and gritty conversations with like-minded people who were open and progressive and really just dedicated to like being open-minded individuals was something that I really cherished. And with every class, I just took a bit of information from all the teachers and I really used it to better myself as a citizen. Yes, I'm taking a power, politics, and influence class. I took improvisation and theater games. I took biology of the brain. I took intro to epidemiology. I've taken a linguistics class in cultural studies. I've taken like an African humanistic and inquiry. So I've taken a really variety of classes. And I wanted to pick up, I kind of wanted a minor in business. I wanted a minor in education and society. However, at USC, the dance portion, your schedule is so busy. So if you don't come in with a lot of credit, sometimes it could set you back, or you might just have to like utilize a summer to get more of your JEs out of the way. And I spent those summers dancing. So I kind of, instead of trying to get a minor or a double major, I wanted to instead further and go to grad school, maybe try to get a progressive degree. So I've been looking into graduate programs now to get something different in dance so I can have a degree in two different fields of study that are interdisciplinary for each other. Internship with my old arts private high school, Chicago Academy for the Arts. I also did an internship with Paylef, which was a performing arts organization in Los Angeles. And I held two jobs throughout all my years of college. I worked for Trojan Events, so I was just a usher, a floor manager, a house manager for different theater venues on campus. I also worked for dance operations, which was basically kind of like the like backbone of like setting up stuff, doing technicals for shows, doing lighting, cleaning, fixing stuff all around kind of like the studio. So I held those jobs morning and night after my academics and rehearsals. I'm originally from Wisconsin, but I moved to Chicago in high school to go to my performing arts high school. And my parents actually moved to South Carolina, and I stayed behind with the host family for high school. So I was kind of already acclimated to being super independent and super on my own. I would take the trains into the city, stay there all day. I would know my way around the streets. I was very independent. So college life was kind of like an extension of high school for me, independence wise. So getting acclimated was just super easy. And I'm with an amazing class. So people were super friendly, and it made it just super, the transition was just graceful and smooth, and everyone was just amazing. I think it depends on the person. I think people who are in the arts are already more independent because they like to do, the art is kind of like their therapy, and they kind of, they tap into their emotions a lot easier. They're more vulnerable. So it kind of depends on the um, environment and atmosphere of the particular college. I, as a like dance major, I find myself, I'm very outgoing. I like to meet individuals. I like to like go out and have fun and see what the campus is all about. But some people are really introverted, and when it comes to their art, they like to kind of be by themselves and be in a smaller pool. So it really depends on the environment of college, but whatever you feel is more comfortable, I think you should pick that university that fits your environment the best. Or if you want to change, I know some people who were super introverts in high school really came out of their shell in college because they were kind of forced to mingle, and people kept asking questions, and people wanted to get to know them. So it was just a great, I think any transition is, it could be hard, it could be smooth, but in the end I think everyone comes out better, a better version of themselves. Typical, as a freshman, a typical day in the life was Uh, 9 a.m. to 11:50 was dance technique. And then we have a break from 11 or from 12 to 2. And in between 12 to 2, we would usually take an academic class. So I would rush off to one of my GSEMs, one of my GEs. And then 2 to 5, we would have a class called repertory and performance, which was kind of just rehearsing for pieces, learning choreography, doing a bunch of that stuff. After 5, we would usually have a dance academic class. So we took anywhere from dance and popular culture to world perspectives on dance performance to international and historical perspectives on dance. And that would go from like 5 to 7. And then 7 to 9, some people went to another academic, or a lot of people had student works rehearsals. So people were coming straight from those classes and rehearsing student pieces or their own choreography. Or my freshman year, we were learning pieces outside of rep to perform. So we would be in the studio till 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. Um, they changed that from freshman year so that now we all end unanimously at 5:30 on Mondays through Fridays. And Friday nights and Saturdays are dedicated to lab hours, which are extra rehearsals. So 5:30 to 9 or 6:30 to 9:30 on Friday nights, and then 12 to 6 on Saturdays are rehearsals. So it's kind of it's a heavy course. And then some people, I took like an academic where I taught like Kaufman connections at 8 a.m. So before my 9 a.m., I'd be at 8 a.m. And before that, I would be teaching. So it's kind of, day in the life is like a full 12 to 14-hour day. Um, Not choosing my major, I felt after my freshman year, I felt super energized and I had so much information, but I felt almost kind of overwhelmed and burnt out, just because of, you know, the schedule was just as rigorous as, some of the high school life, but it was just acclimating to a whole new environment and having new professors and wanting to make great impressions and make lifelong connections, that I think it kind of just took a toll on everyone, kind of in my class. And, we all work really hard and great as a cohort. So it really is great to share the space. But at the end, like my sophomore year was kind of a transitional year where I was maybe thinking of having other interests, and I was like, do my other interests outweigh my passion for dance? And then I was always kind of juggling between that, and then I realized, I was like, they don't really outweigh my love for dance. They're just kind of a side stepping stone. So that was really great. So I don't think I ever questioned my major, but sometimes I would question maybe why I was taking specific courses. I was like, why is this course helping me? Do I really need to take this dance course, or can I take an academic instead that I would rather take? So that's kind of where I was tossing up. And with college, those 4 years after high school are really also just really challenging because you're also finding yourself. So, I loved dance all throughout high school, but I was like, am I still in love with dance at the same capacity as I was at 16, or is it just I'm maturing and I'm looking at dance in a whole new light, in a whole new lens. Maybe I could create a job that incorporates dance that I haven't performed. But rather than in high school, I was always kind of on the performing side, but now college has opened me up to choreography, working behind the scenes, working, in different genres that could really help dance. So I never really questioned. It was just more of like, where am I at? How can I get better? And I can always go back to my roots. Yeah, I made lifelong connections and I learned so much rep that I never would have probably performed if I went from high school trying to get into a company. I've learned rep that some professionals dream of doing. And so having the rights to that rep is it's so humbling, and it's so amazing to have a university that's so new and that has such a wide acclimated range of rep that we could all perform. And so getting all those different styles and getting all those different rep really makes you just a hybrid dancer, and a dancer that is ready to kind of take any opportunity, and also a well-rounded individual to kind of go into any subset of workforce. I took like this business for writing class, and as a dancer, I knew none of the terminology, and I ended up making one of the best networking connections with my professor, and I really had a great bond with her. And now she's writing my letter of recommendations, and it's just having those transferable skills from dance and being so, just being so hardworking and so attentive to detail and curious that really helps kind of in all areas of life. I wish I would have known it if I had extra time. Um, I thought that, again, like going in, I thought I could really pursue maybe a double major, um, but I just didn't realize how rigorous the dance was, or just how, how they set up the schedule is a lot of dancing, then stopping to go to academics, then right back to intense dancing, then going to another academic, and then intense dancing, and then going off. So it's kind of the stop and start that I wish I would have known a little bit more so I could have prioritized my time. Because it was definitely like rehearsing all day Saturdays, doing some stuff on Sundays, and then being like, oh no, I'm behind on a lot of homework. I need to get all this done. I'm staying up late, and now I'm choosing my exam over my dance classes, or I'm choosing a paper over my one of my technique classes. So I wish I would have known how to prioritize my time a lot better, but that's also just a me issue. And I think it's also just a college issue. You learn your first year is tough when learning how to prioritize your time and time management skills. I lived on campus for my first 2 years. So I lived right in the heart of campus of McCarthy Quad my freshman year. And then I lived at the USC Village my sophomore year. And I loved both venues. Burncrant was huge and spacious, and I had a great roommate. The USC Village was more apartment style, so we all had like a kitchenette, we had bathrooms, we had two suites, which were great. It was air conditioned, it was right on top of everything, right next to Trader Joe's and Target, so I had everything at the tip of my fingers. And then me and my friends decided to live off campus our junior and senior year, just because on campus housing is not granted all 4 years. So you're kind of put into a lottery system when you're a junior and a senior to get housing. So sometimes it was just easier. And we wanted to be off campus, to have a little bit more space, not have like a security guard, and not have like a maximum number of guests. We wanted to be able to kind of like chill, do our own thing, have enough room to like collaborate and just kind of be a little bit away from it, because it just kind of gets you when you're on campus 24/7. So it's nice to get around, to get to new places. And I primarily walk everywhere, but a lot of my friends ride bikes, scooters. They take the Uber scooters everywhere. The like the Lyft birds, I think they call them everywhere, like the electronic scooters. So it's super easy to get around in campus. A lot of people skateboard as well. The amount of dedication the teachers have to you to make sure that you grow, the intensity, which also can be a con, but the environment is just super intense, and you just have to be in the right mindset every time you go in. You can't be lackadaisical. You can't let your outside day affect you in the studio. And you really have to give it all you got, because you're making these connections in the dance world that are going to be forever.
And the people that you're dancing with are going to be people that you're going to be running into all, your later half of your dance career in life. So you really want to have a foundation of good connections. And I just think the Trojan family and just the Kaufman family is just so like close knit. It just feels that everyone is there to support you. The only con is like the intensity aspect. Like it's just the art of nature of dance is super competitive and super intense, and you don't want to let things like casting or doing certain parts or not getting a certain role affect your college or dance experience. So I think a con is maybe not taking things too literally. The teachers are hard on you because they want you to grow, and they want you to make mistakes and they want you to fail because that's a part of learning, and mistakes are just as great as successes. So I think the only con is just, as I think it's more on me and more of just like the people around, is not to take anything too seriously. Know that you're there for the right reason, and just really put your best foot forward. They're super attentive to detail and they really want you to succeed. So they're in the academic settings and the dance settings, just more, they're more up forward about what they want. They want specific things. They also want you to explore and have fun. So they're kind of they're there for you to kind of be a mentor and not a teacher. And we're assigned mentors, which are the professors. And so you kind of get 30-minute block periods every month if you can do one-on-one. You could talk to them about anything. You could talk about career centers. You could talk about, their connections and how they can get you, specific opportunities. So they're really there rooting for you. And they're, again, a mentor rather than a teacher. And they really, really are pushing you to be the best you can be. And so they're going to be hard on you. They're going to understand where you're coming from. They have to be empathetic. They have to be reasonable. And, they have made a great impression and they have great relationships with all the students. So that's definitely a plus. I really want to dance for a physical theater dance company. So a company that utilizes like dance, playwright, text, acting, singing, dramaturgy, anything kind of that's really interested me, since I took an improvisation and theater games in college, and that really just struck me. And I want a company that's located in a city where I could also pursue kind of like my volunteer work. I really want to, I'm interested in like creating pieces that could be placed in like museum galleries or stills or site specific works. So I'm really into performing and choreographing and kind of, really making sure that people pay attention to the arts because the arts are an imperative part of life. I got a Kaufman dance scholarship that was awarded based on just merit. Um, and I didn't apply to any specific scholarships, but when I would get my financial aid package from colleges, I would take the best one and I would email all the schools and be like, hey, like I was accepted to this university and this is how much money they gave me. Can you match? And if they didn't match, or if there wasn't a scholarship opportunity that they could provide that I could apply to, then I just kind of ruled them out and said, okay, I'm going to go with the best financial option. And that's how I kind of leveraged more scholarship, more grant, more gift aid. And so it was really helpful for me to always ask for more, appeal for more, because all they can do is say no. It doesn't hurt. So that's what I figured out. Um, I think I think when you're preparing for college, I know everyone's in a different mindset in high school because high school is such a tricky time in everyone's life. But I think, again, finding your passion projects immediately in high school and knowing what you're passionate about so that you could really make a difference in your community. I think that's what stands out to people in college application processes, because they don't want people who are spitting out 4.0s and spitting out a 36 on their ACT and not actually contributing. They don't want, like a science robot, or they don't want someone that's strict perfect on paper. They want someone that is passionate and is willing to take risks and willing to make mistakes and may not be the best at everything, but they're hungry and they're craving for more education and they want to be there. So I think really showing that you want to be at that university, and that means when you're applying to really do your research, like look at courses that you could maybe implement, look at specific professors that you want to work with, use them in your essays do research on them. If they have published a book, maybe read the book, talk about like how a specific paragraph or something helped you and it changed your life or changed your way you look at things. And that really shows that you care about the university and that you really, really want it. Whereas a lot of people I know on the Common App do like a general kind of statement and just send it off to 20 colleges. But I think really tailoring your passion and your application for each specific university at a really good level is really going to help you. So I really recommend looking at the professors of the program, outside projects that they did that maybe you can connect with. Emailing the professor, hey, I'm interested in this program. I want to talk to you. Could I ask you about a couple questions? Or I'm doing like an interview project in my high school. Could I interview you? Getting more of a connection and seeing how you can kind of finesse your way into a school. Thank you so much, y'all. Have a good day.